The body was in the back of a dark green Jaguar Mark 10 saloon that had been abandoned beneath a railway bridge in a small Durham mining village 16 miles south of Newcastle. The discovery was made by Tom Leake, a shop firer on his way home after a night shift in the local colliery. For the last 8 hours, Leake had been working more than 800 feet underground. His job to safely set and detonate the explosives used to blast the coal from the seam. When his shift finished at 4:45 a.m, he had ridden the cage back up to the top of the shaft, showered, changed, and then started walking home along Front Street past Fallowfield Garage and the village school. It was bitterly cold in Southampton in the early hours of the 5th of January 1967. It had been snowing during the night, and an icy wind was blowing in off the North Sea. While he was underground, Leake had been told that the snow had started falling at around 3:15 a.m, and the first thing he noticed about the big car badly parked near Pestpool Bridge was that it was covered with a light layer of snow, mostly on the boot, but that there was no snow underneath it, so it must have been there for some time. The Jaguar was about 14 inches from the curb on the west side of the bridge going towards Easington. It was a dangerous spot where many accidents had occurred, and at first Leake thought it must have run out of petrol. Such an expensive and powerful car was not an everyday sight in Southampton, and the miner crossed the road to have a closer look. Front Street was brightly lit at night, and Leake could see that the Jaguar's rear lights were burning dimly and the rear offside door wasn't properly closed. He also noticed that the driver's side window was wound down and the rear passenger window shattered. The windscreen wipers were broken too, but the ignition was still on and the key in place. When Leake peered in through the near side front window, he saw nothing. But when he looked in through the back window, which was up, he saw a man's body lying stretched out on the back seat, with its head and shoulders jammed between the driver's seat and the offside door. There was mud on his shirt and a bruise on his forehead, but the short, dark blue overcoat and expensive-looking suit and shoes were not the uniform of an ordinary working man. Leake opened the door and shook the man's left leg by the calf, which was bare. "Here, mate," he called. "You can't park there, here. Wake up." But there was no response. He tried again, leaning right in across the smart leather upholstery, but the body was cold and there were no signs of life. Leake, who had spent 8 years in the army before going down the mine, knew what a dead body looked like. He shut the car door and was heading to the post office kiosk to phone 999 when 3 other miners came walking up the road from the pithead. They were led by Leake's friend, Leslie Marshall, who was a colliery supervisor. Leake told them there was a man in the Jaguar who appeared to be dead, and they all went over and had a look. There was broken glass on the man's chest and on the back seat. Leslie Marshall attempted to take a pulse. "There's no bleed at the carotid artery," he said to the others. They went to the back of the car to examine the lights and get the number, and then Tom Leake went to the phone box and called the police. The village constable, P.C. Morris Cluer, arrived soon afterwards, followed by 2 uniformed traffic officers driving an Austin Westminster saloon. They were joined by the local GP, Dr. John Seymour Hunter, and an official police photographer. At 7 a.m, Detective Superintendent Ronald Kell of Durham CID arrived to take charge. He was accompanied by the pathologist Dr. John Ennis, and he was the one who peeled back the dead man's coat to reveal the 3 bullet holes in his body, 2 in the left shoulder and 1 in the chest. By then the area around Pestpool Bridge was swarming with uniformed and plainclothes police. The detectives, eyes watering, smoking cigarettes and turning their coat collars up in the biting wind. The beat coppers stamping their feet and blowing on their hands to keep warm as Jack Ennis began a tentative examination. By mid-morning, the dead man's identity had been established, and D.S. Kell confirmed that he was now conducting a murder inquiry and had established an HQ in nearby Peterlee police station. "If it bleeds, it leads," was the old Fleet Street saying, and the press fell on the news like bounty hunters stripping booty off an outlaw's corpse. "Gaming King shot dead," proclaimed a banner headline in the Newcastle Evening Chronicle. "Gang warfare in murder hunt,"